everybody, and welcome back to another The Santi Show, brought to you by Takma Co, giving you all the entertainment you ever need from your favorite Latino family. So today, I have a special guest here today that's going to be talking to us about Bootcamp. We're going to have this conversation about the experience that we've been through, any questions that we might that I still have, and this is the person that can answer all these questions for us that we have. Today, I have Drill Sergeant Serna.
How you doing, everybody?
But before we do that, before we dive into the topic, tell us a little bit about yourself, Joe Sergeant, and then we'll go from there.
All right, so I was a drill sergeant in your class, right? But I was born in Mexico, and then back in 1976, hell of a year. Migrated to the United States in 1993, and live in Atlanta, Georgia. I did a bunch of construction work on a furniture business. I did a lot of things before I joined the army. Then I joined the army all the way till the present, and that's pretty much it for me, really. Did a few deployments, whatever, as an infantryman, a few deployments here, a few deployments there. Stationed in Alaska currently. I was stationed in Germany. But most of my military career I spent it in Fort Bragg. Other than that, there's really not much to me. Other than I'm just a regular guy.
Okay.
And all dudes rule.
Well, Germany's amazing, and Alaska must be amazing. So hopefully, I get any of those orders soon. I'm actually close to Germany myself, so maybe in the future.
Germany was great. Yeah, that's where I met my wife.
Aww.
And now we got a little kid. She's 4.
Aww.
Yeah. You remember her, right, when she was born?
Yes, because you told us in boot camp. Let me tell you what you said in boot camp, Joe Sergeant. So I know him because of when I first enlisted in the military as a whole back in 2019. I went for Army, not Navy, but Navy now. But when I first, was a younger person, I don't know, 19, when I first wanted to do it, Army, and I went to boot camp, South Carolina, Relaxing Jackson was the best one from what I heard. I had the great opportunity that he was my drill sergeant and Drill Sergeant Landa, both amazing, we'll never forget. And one of his things he would always say that I remember, that they did a ceremony for like one of the sergeant first classes that she was a drill sergeant. She was like small, like tiny, and I don't know who she was. I couldn't remember for the life of me who she was, but the ceremony, like how they did it to you. And you told us right before the event, you're like, hey, if a guy that looks like me and with my small kid and my wife come in, it's not me. It's my twin brother. My evil twin brother. You would say things like that just to mess with us.
Oh, no, I remember this. Yeah, it was. So the thing was that we weren't. It was like more kind of irony, kind of like a. So you know how we are not supposed, as drill sergeants, you weren't supposed to be seen in civilians, and you were supposed to be always seen in uniform and professional and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But I knew that I was had to go there with my family for that ceremony because it was going to be on a weekend or something, or on a day off. So that's why I told all the trainees, when you see a guy that looks just like me in civilians, and he's got a wife and a kid that looks just like my wife, my kid, that's not me. That's somebody else, because I never wear civilian clothing. I remember that.
And we talked about that for like a whole week. I'm like, oh my god, the kid is so cute. Like, oh my, like the females would be like, the wife is so beautiful. Like that's all we talked about for the whole week is we're like, oh my gosh. And then another time. It was in your rotation because on the weekends y'all do rotations. So I think it was Drill Sergeant Remy. He's like he's really quiet. He doesn't talk a lot, and he scared us one day.
What's his name?
I think it's Drill Sergeant Remy.
Oh, Remy.
Remy. And
Remy or Remy?
I don't know.
Remy, yes.
I think he was like first platoon.
R.A. Yeah, Remy.
And it was raining, and I think either you might have switched with him like the afternoon part or something. But he was there. All I remember that, and it was raining, and we were in the chow line. We were in chow eating quietly, and we hear this big thunder, and like around us, we looked. He was in our vicinity. He got scared, and we were like, we
He
were
got
talking.
scared.
Yes, and we were talking about it. We're like, oh my god, like he never gets scared. Like this is probably like, I mean, if he gets scared, that we really like we make stories like behind the scenes stories of like every drill sergeant to make it seem true. Like for him, it's like he has like not like fake, but some like we make it seem real. Like we were thinking like, oh, he has like PTSD, you know, from like his wars or his deployments that he's been to. Like that's why he got scared. Like we felt so bad for him. Let me tell you, we felt so bad for him. We did everything after chow. Like we had to go run to the watering hole, run back. We were like this because we felt bad for him. We were like this. The whole company was quiet. Everything like that. We were on our P's and Q's. Like
That's funny.
we were so good to him because we felt bad because of the thunder scaring him. That's how
Well,
it.
you know,
Yeah.
some thunder do sound like a freaking ID explosion, like an ID going off. It's like,
Like we
oh,
understand we somehow like came together like after chow because he didn't come outside for a little bit, so we had like this little meeting between all the platoons. We like, hey, we gotta do this. We gotta make sure we're on our p's and q's. Maybe he'll let us go so he can just relax and all that. We don't want to make it a burden on him that he thinks that he has to babysit us. Now I don't know why we should have done it with Joe Sergeant Greenwald because he was the most. He hated us. Let me tell you, he hated us, Josiah. He hated us, and he made sure to bully us. Not really bully us, but like beat us. And I think our favorite song from him was like, "It's our mountain high, it's our mountain low." The for mountain climbers, and then like how
mhm.
the way he would say things. But as a platoon, second platoon, if you for you guys back at home, we were the second platoon. As a whole company, without the drill sergeant knowing, we were called the ghetto platoon, and I think it's because we had Aquino. Do you know? Do you remember Aquino?
I think so. The thing is that I went through so there was so many classes that I
Hmm.
went through that a lot of times it will feel like it will feel like this people got just replaced with another people because this is a funny thing that happens in basic training, which is weird.
Hmm.
It's like every class gets filled with someone that looks like the last class. It's so weird. It's like weird. It's like, bro, is it just me, or these trainees look just like the other class with different names and stuff? It's just weird.
What? Did anyone
Yeah,
look
it's
like
weird.
me?
Yeah, there were people that look like you. Like everybody got replaced somehow. It was like I was like thinking half the time. Are we living some kind of? I can't remember the name of that show, but it used to be an old show, the Twilight Zone. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's like, is it
Okay.
like some Twilight Zone? So I mean, obviously, I knew that wasn't real, but sometimes I will think about it as like, this is so weird. Like every class gets filled by someone that looks and behaves like the person from the last class. It's so weird.
Oh, that's so funny. I would never think of that because I mean, as an E4 right now, my goal is to become a not an RDC because that's an equivalent of a drill sergeant. I will never become an RDC. I don't think I have. I mean, I think I can do it, but I just I would rather be an instructor for my for AIT for me for in the military for Navy. So I'd be an instructor teaching them the job that they're supposed to be. That's I feel like where I'm most fit when it comes to that extra collateral duties.
Unless you get selected and they make you do it.
Mm. That's another thing.
'Cause
If that happens, then I will gladly do it. I don't have no problems that no problem yelling at trainees, recruits. I have no problem with that.
yeah, I wouldn't think so much about yelling, but more like
Mentoring,
building and not mentoring them,
true.
forming them.
Cause
But
I yeah.
because that's what happened to me. I got selected, TA
Oh.
select. I did not volunteer to be a drill sergeant, and I didn't want to do it at first. I'm like, I don't want to be a drill sergeant, but then it's like got to do it because that's what I'm told, and I do what I'm told. So
Mhm.
I end up there. I wanted to go to the best basic training the world has ever seen, which is Fort Benning, Georgia, the home of the infantry.
Oh yeah.
I know you say earlier that Jackson was, but I disagree. No, no. You know what? We had the best. We had the best basic training the world has ever seen when you were there with us. We
Hmm.
did, but then after that, Jackson went back to normal.
Really?
Oh
Cause,
yeah.
'Cause a lot of stuff, like, I remember a lot of great things, like, happened for us because you were telling us, hey, this Friday, make sure when you get paid or use your Eagle Cash Card, buy your tickets because we marched. When we tell you, like, or when, like, back at home, when we tell you, like, we march and we did cadence for the first time, to the field, the parade field where the graduation happens, and we had the whole
Hmm.
concert, and you guys let us be like human beings for a little bit. And I remember you were saying, like, remember, this is your time to be human, but don't act crazy. But when it's time to come, like, to go, then it's back to military bearing, and those things made a difference, I think, and I think most of us too, being in the military. Like, these concerts, like, we were having fun. We were enjoying that. Yes, boot camp is all about building and breaking you down and building you back up, but these moments that those were like special moments to all of us in the company, in Echo Company.
Oh yeah, yeah. They are. They build that morale.
Mhm.
Morale builders. It makes you. It's my opinion, right? It makes you see a different perspective in life because until you experience something like that,
Mhm.
you will always think that you're entitled to everything that's around you.
Agreed.
And,
A hundred
and yep.
percent.
And when you do that and they take everything away from you and you are forced to earn everything. Because in basic training, bootcamp obviously there's changes now. I'm not keeping all the changes, but when we were there, everything is taken away from you and you are to earn everything that you have. And that's why I don't know if you remember, I used to tell you guys, freaking enjoy the little things, like
Yep.
in the DeFi, enjoy things because we're not giving it to you. You freaking earn it. You earn it with sweat. You earn it with work, with tears, sometimes with blood. You freaking earn it. We're not giving it to you, so enjoy it. Make the most
Mhm.
of it. And I think that gives you a perspective when you go to those concerts. Like, man, you are allowed to be a human. You're allowed to be an individual and enjoy yourself. There's no more freaking stand up here until your back hurts.
Yeah.
A lot of the population doesn't sees that because they don't understand. And I say a lot because I cannot generalize everyone, but a lot of people, especially to this today and today's era,
Yeah.
we got all these people that they think they are entitled to everything, and they forget that we still we're still animals. We're still part of the animal kingdom, and there's animals like, let's say, the zebras, for example. They're not entitled to go and drink water whenever they want. They're not entitled to freaking eat grass. They have to pay their deeds. You know what I mean? You
Mhm.
go on as a zebra and you go and drink water from a river or a hole or whatever. You taking the chance to be eaten and ripped apart by a freaking crocodile or a bunch of crocodiles alive. And the
Mhm.
same with lions and other predators. And life is hard, and this freaking really hard, and competition among themselves. So we as humans, we forget that we are part of the animal kingdom, and because everything is given to us, we live in a society that even if you are not someone who brings something to the table, you are being taken care of by other people that are bringing something to the table. So you start getting this false sense that you're entitled to what's on
Mhm.
the table for you, and you don't realize, hey, somebody sacrificed so much for what I got right now that you forget about it and you take it for granted. So when you're in basic training, like what you were saying, everything is taken away. Hey, you're not getting anything. Here you will work for everything, you will earn everything. And when you go to those concerts, which when the army didn't give them to you, you earned them. You know what I mean?
True. True.
When you go there, you enjoy them so much because, oh man, I didn't realize. It's like you don't realize how beautiful life is, until moments like that happen. And it's not like an old saying that goes, you never know what you have until you lose it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I
Yeah.
100% agree with you. I think that what my mindset when I was joining the military for the first time, this is not talking about like me re-enlisting again, but I needed a structure. I needed a backbone because I think for me when it was at that time, I I was stuck in a plateau. I had two jobs, working overnight and then working at a in the morning, 1 to 10, and then 11 to 7 in the morning. That
Hmm.
was my job, 5 days a week, maybe 7 days, just to make ends meet.
Hmm.
And I was still in that plateau. And I told myself I want to go somewhere where I can grow and learn and do something with my career. And the military was gonna offer that and has
Hmm.
some great avenues for it. So when I went in, I needed a backbone because let me tell you, I was rebellious at a certain age between middle school and high school. But when I moved out on my own when I was 18, then that kind of rebellious went away. But I still wanted that backbone to keep me, in line, in check, to make sure everything I do is professional, to make sure, you can still have fun, but keep it in that professional because everything you do has to be professional. You can't just show a product or anything like that,
Hmm.
and not be good because then people will talk and then people might not want you there. And there's a thing, you can get fired for even in the military and send you to somewhere else.
Hmm.
So I think that the boot camp, army boot camp, and any other boot camp kind of like help you with that. And it's different in every branch because the forge, the iron mites or iron sights, and then the hammer. I like those. And besides me and making me love camping because I really love camping now, but
Hmm.
I enjoyed those. You go through team building. You go through like military teaches team building exercises, how to do things, and you go like even though it was just boot camp, and you go through a lot in boot camp, in those like 4 day 3 nights. It's a lot, and it teaches you a little bit. Like it's not the same when you actually go on deployment, but you'll know that like, oh, all these are like preparing you for the real military. Like this is what you're gonna take is you have to work together as a team, no matter what job you have. Like I think the motto like or when they were telling us the motto from when I remember is soldier first, then your job is secondary. Is
Hmm.
that's still correct, right?
Yeah, yeah. I used to tell trainees all the time because sometimes they will have this misconception that they are a paper pusher or a supply guy or a cook. I don't know why I have to do this. And they used
Mhm.
to complain. And I try to tell them they should be proud of what they are because, like, you may be a paper pusher or supply guy or cook or whatever the case, right?
Right.
But you are an infantryman first. You're just serving at a different capacity during within your unit. It doesn't mean that's why when in the army you're supposed to be able to pass all that training because
Mhm.
yeah, you are not gonna be an expert infantryman. Yeah, you're not gonna go to the line. It's like yeah, guys, you're not gonna go to the line and you're not gonna freaking be doing patrols. But in case that you really have to, plus you have to learn how the infantryman because a lot of the jobs, their main goal is to support the infantry. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because these are the guys that are gonna be out there in the freaking in the middle of nowhere. They're not gonna have a lot of food, a lot of water. They're not gonna have a lot of sleep. And for someone to sit back in an office and not knowing what these guys are going through, it's not a good thing because then you become callous and you don't care. Like, oh, these guys are requesting this help or whatever. Well, I'll do it tomorrow. This is an example. I'll do it tomorrow. I don't care. Like you can't think like that because you cannot be empathetic until you feel it yourself. So when
Mhm.
you are like, oh man, I remember boot camp. It was very because like this is how people should be thinking. I remember boot camp. It was a very freaking traumatic experience to me, and I remember that being on the field really sucks. So I can even imagine these guys over there. They're on the real world. So
Right.
yeah, I'm gonna do my best to push out these supplies. I'm gonna do my best to push out these documents, everything, so that these guys can continue the fight.
Oh
The
yeah.
other thing is like, yeah, the other thing is like, what about if we, for whatever reason, you never know, we need you around, like, hey, you need to come with us or something, and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. Well, obviously you're not gonna, be on the line with us, but at least we want to know that you know how to use your rifle, that you at least you know how to do basic infantry stuff, because they show you in basic. That was probably a long time ago, but at least I can refresh you a little bit. Hey, this is what we're gonna do and stuff. This is how you're gonna pull security in your own area. Because let's say the tuck, right? Let's
Hmm.
say the tuck pushes out of the fob, whatever, because they getting more ground. Now you got a bunch of dudes on that tuck that don't know how to pull security. That means that the infantrymen had to come back now and support your tuck by giving you bodies and that what's going to do is going to hinder our advance. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we do need people. Yeah, like you say, everybody's an infantryman. The only difference is some people are serving at a different capacity, and there's nothing wrong with that. Hey, man, just because you are a S1 guy or somebody who's not an infantryman doesn't mean that you're not an infantryman. You are a rifleman, an infantryman first of all. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Later on, you're going to specialize in whatever your MOS is. But at the core, you should be conscious that you are a rifleman. You know what I mean?
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I agree with you with that. Yeah.
I make sure like I kept that in my head after you guys first said it because I don't know much about the military. I'm the second generation in as a whole family. My grandpa went in army and he
Mhm.
was a officer. I have like the only thing I know a little bit is a picture of him and what he did.
Mhm.
And he was stationed in Fort Jackson, Fort Liberty now, not Fort Bragg. Um, so and no one can tell me a lot about him, so I want to at least continue that legacy for my family,
Mhm.
so and keep that mentality and but I enjoyed boot camp. It's how I make of it, because boot camp can be fun, because
Boot camp makes you. It's like it's a fun thing to do. It's
Mhm.
hard. It's hard. Not to interrupt you, but it's hard, but it's fun, and it gives you a good perspective of. It makes you humble, especially those field grade those field exercises.
Oh yes.
They they humble you, and I don't know if you remember, but I told a lot of the trainees how when they're out there on the streets telling each other, "Oh, I got your back, buddy. I got your back." Whatever. It's anybody can say that. Anybody can tell you, "Oh, I got your back, man." Anybody can tell you that when they are in their area of comfort. See what I mean? It
Mhm.
doesn't mean anything. When it has meaning, it's when you are out there and freaking was it hot or cold those days?
It was hot. It was in May that I went in.
It was hot, so it's so freaking hot, and you had to wear your helmet, and you had to wear your body armor or your fleek or whatever we give you. You had to wear it. You had to stay with the uniform, and it just makes it a lot harder. And you having headaches, and you feel dizzy, and you don't feel good. And then there's not a lot of food. Water is always had in your canteen, your camelbacks. You guys had camelbacks, right? Or you guys
We
canteens,
did
camelbacks, right?
an
And
MRE.
water is yeah, and water is always had in your freaking camelback. You always tired because you always so tired. You out the whole night pulling security and doing patrols, and then through the day you just walking and walking with like freaking rucksack, just killing your back all the
Ooh.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
your feet are full of blisters. You don't want to put weight on your feet because your feet hurt. See, that's different because that right there, when and a lot of you guys did, a lot of you guys told your battle boys, and I hear it because I was drill sergeant. I was patrolling the. A lot of you guys told your battle buddies, "I got you back, battle buddy." Right? That it's different. That has meaning. That is when it means something.
Right.
When you are out of your area of comfort, when you are really sucking, when a little favor for your battle buddy means a great effort for you. That's when it means something because you don't want to. You just want to sit down and relax your back. You just want to sleep in. You see that your battle buddy's struggling and like, battle buddy, I got you. You need water, and people go and grab the camelbacks and go and get water for your battle buddy. You know, and then you give it to your battle buddy. I got your back, battle buddy. See, that is different. That when you're on the street, sitting on the freaking couch or somewhere, having a good time, all the rest. Of, I got your back. I'm a badass. No, you don't got my back. You just want to sound badass in front of everybody. You want to sound like you somebody, but you are nobody, dude. Because
Right.
yeah, because I don't know if you will react the same if we were all sucking. You probably just feel sorry for yourself, you know, start nursing your boo boos, Oh, I'm hurt. You know what I mean?
Right, right. No,
And,
yeah, I agree with that. Um,
yeah,
shifting through a little bit, like at the beginning of like the experience, so I can jot your memory. Maybe you low a little bit when you were our drill sergeant. I don't know how y'all go by class or when you get new ones coming in. I remember. I think I remember. I was like it was like the first couple of minutes because Shark Attack. They don't do Shark Attack no more, from what I heard. Um,
no, they do something else. 100 mile or I don't know something.
so I
I
was
got
so
to sleep.
sad when they did that because that was funny. Because I remember I had a my first encounter with you because I was like, Drill Sergeant, I can't find my bag because they just threw our like all of our duffel bags on there and we had like a couple minutes and if we could not find it, we get beat for it. And like we have to
Hmm.
go back and we would go back and you guys were getting pissed off and then had us holding it and then I think I made the platoon hate me a little because like I was trying to find it and it was like in another platoon and then they were holding like their bags up like this for like it's been like 3 or 4 minutes now and it was hurting and I was like I'm so sorry. I couldn't say anything but I was like I'm so sorry it was me and I feel like I put a target on my back a little and then
Oh man, fun,
uh,
good times.
I remember that. I think another reason I remember now jogging my memory back is why we were the ghetto platoon, even though we were like the best in our PRT, like you were saying earlier. Like we were really good, like top of the like the best platoon ever. Is I think internally because we all come from a different background and we were trying to like break that away. Yes, we still had that, but we try to mold it like to mode where it's like we don't fight with anyone because I think we had moments where we were all fighting, and I think your other fellow drill sergeants were like telling you guys that like we had fights go on in the room like after dark like fights would go on because like we had different voices and different opinions like and out of everybody it was like the second platoon that everybody looked at so I don't know if any other drill sergeants told you that or for any other like platoons that you ever had.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you see that because that was your platoon, but every platoon was like that. Every freaking platoon, they always have fights in there. I remember going into when I was on staff duty.
Hmm.
The females had the worst. They'll fight more than anyone.
Yes.
I remember I was in staff duty and I was doing my checks, and there was these freaking noises in the females' barracks, just screaming and stuff, and just in the beach and this and that. And I freaking opened the door. I was in my battle body, opened the door, see what's going on, and the freaking fire guard is just sitting there, reports nothing has happened and stuff. And I was like, so nothing has happened here. So what the fuck was all that noise? Oh, I don't know, drill sergeant. So
We try to hide it
I
from y'all so y'all don't beat us.
yeah, because everybody was sleeping. Everybody was sleeping. I was like, I opened the freaking door and I turned the lights on, and I see everybody in their bunks. And I was like, this is really freaking suspect. And I asked the battle, it was a female drill sergeant, and I was like, you hear that, right, battle buddy? Battle, like, yes, I did. I did. They were fucking fighting. We're not stupid. And I was like, if we hear one more time that you'll fight, we're gonna fucking scope the shit out of everybody here. You better control your freaking platoon. That's what I told what was that, 5 I was like, you better control your freaking platoon, and just yell at her. And just like, yes, drill sergeant. So we left. But as soon as we left, shit, I started hearing like, you fucking bitch, blah, 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 blah. So I went and I hit the door on my face. Doo, 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 shut the hell up and go back to sleep. And I hear like multiple voices. Yes, drill sergeant. So if multiple people are awake, and you tell me you weren't fighting, like, come on. So I was like, man, these freaking kids, I swear. I just walk away. And like, I was so tired. I was like, but yeah, every platoon was doing that. Every platoon was just fighting in the freaking bay. Everybody have an issue with everyone.
Oh
But that's
yeah.
part. That's part of the experience because everybody comes from different backgrounds. So
Mhm.
at the end, when you're about to graduate or you pass that, like already, pretty much everybody starts behaving better.
Yeah, I
That
see that happening. And
there's an
then
adjustment.
mhm. And then I remember there was one we had to come up with a when we had the PG would say platoon attention, we had to come up with a motto. And let me tell you what our motto was. And we had a whole competition with fourth platoon, and because it was
Fourth
bet
platoon.
it was I can't remember his name. Oh, Drill Sergeant
Oh
Andrews.
no, I don't remember.
But it was
I don't
I
remember.
I don't remember either.
It's probably not important. Keep going.
But yeah, it was like I remember him. I think it was like Joe Sergeant Andrews or something. It was like his last one, and
Mm-mm.
then he was retiring. Whatever the case was, he was telling us every single time that he's so happy to retire. And
Retire?
yeah, he was getting ready to retire.
Was that a skinny guy?
No,
Uh, I don't remember any retirees there. Let me think. Retire or had it?
maybe D had both, but I wasn't. He was talking about retiring in like 2 years when that time was happening.
Oh, okay.
But
I don't remember that. Just saying, Andres. Okay, I'm listening. Uh huh.
and our motto was so when they would say platoon attention, we would say motivated, motivated, downright dedicated. Show us what you got. Show us what you got. Whoa.
That's pretty good.
I mean, who hated
That's,
it the most? And like we were beat for it because they hate like one of the drill sergeant. I think it was Drill Sergeant Flynn or Greenwald hated it, and they were like beating us for it, and like that we needed
mm,
to do better. That Fourth Platoon was beating y'all.
for platoon. What color was for platoon?
Yellow. I know I can't
I don't
remember.
remember. I don't remember. I mean, I know who they are. I just can't remember them. And then basic training was different back then than today. Apparently, basic training they get five drill sergeants per platoon and one LT. Yeah, but now they keep to themselves. Back then it was different because one person will be taking care of the entire company. I remember that. I
Yeah, it
remember I
was
used to
one.
have to work and like, hey, this guy's doing this guy's doing that, Serna, or whatever. You guys gonna have to take this care of these dudes today. I was like, great, four platoon.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was for Fourth Platoon, but he was. We thought he was really cool, but if you get him pissed off enough, then he wouldn't want to. He doesn't like to beat, but if you get him really pissed off, then he will. But I can't remember who like his name.
Huh.
But
Yeah, I can't remember either. What did he look like?
he was like has short hair, a little bit big, but I'm really bad at
You're
like
talking about Anderson?
Anderson. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
Jocelyn
him.
Anderson.
Yes.
Andy.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, he retired already. I can't remember. I haven't talked to him in a while, but he does welding and stuff right now for some company,
Mm.
and he was trying to go into the medical field too, but he changed his mind. He
Yeah.
decided
So.
to go welding.
Yeah,
Hmm.
he would. Yeah, we thought he was pretty cool. He helped. I think I got over my because of Army Boot Camp. I got over my fear of like heights because when we did that victory tower, the whole big
Hmm.
thing, I thought I wasn't gonna be able to do it.
Really?
No, okay, because I've always had I think I had a fear of heights,
Hmm.
and I thought it was gonna be easy, but when I kept getting up higher and higher, I started getting this like nervousness and scared.
Yeah.
And then when I had to like put a rope on that wasn't like secure, like it was secured enough, but like it's not like really secured if you were going zip lining, but anything could happen. So I was like, oh my god. So I was freaking out already in my head, but he told me, he said, if I can do this drunk, then you can too. I said, okay. So eventually I did it. Eventually it was horrible. And then we had like big people here, like a general major. We had like high ranking officers just watching, and how like we were doing the
Hmm.
victory tower and all that for that event. So we were like you guys were telling us to act in our P's and Q's and all that, and or you guys would beat us, and we were like, I don't want to get we don't want to get beat today. We're tired. So, but
Yep.
and then another good time. You weren't here for this one. And I said it earlier as well. But Drill Sergeant what is his name again?
Revy.
Revy.
Yeah.
It was thunderstorming that day. We were sitting in the town hall being quiet. It just thunderstormed like really loud, powerful, shook the building, and we look at our corner of the eye, and it was him. He got scared, and we were like really quietly talking, like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my gosh, like we were looking at each other, and we like gave the eye like, and then when we went outside, because we knew that we had a couple minutes to talk, because, well, I mean, I know that you guys would be looking at the window anyway. I feel like Joe Sergeant Greenwald and Flynn would be looking at the window if we were talking. But we had moments when if it was just him, we knew that he wouldn't be just looking at the window. He would be over there making sure we were leaving. But
Yeah, he look up the window too, but some drill sergeants don't care. It's like whatever. Like I used to see you guys and be like, whatever they talking, what are they gonna do? They're not supposed to, but they doing it. No big deal. Ravi was like that. He's like, I'm sorry, keep
oh,
going.
no, it's good. And we were talking. We were all like, "Hey, everybody, let's be like a quiet company. Let's make sure like we had our good moments in in as a company. Like we were telling
Hmm.
everybody like, hey, we're gonna be quiet. We're gonna let him do his own thing. He's gonna if we let him do his own thing, he's gonna let us go and give us more downtime because we were always wanting more downtime. So we were like the quietest, the best. Our marching was in step, everything, and he let us go early, and we did that again when we did our first ruck march. We had to go back to the company and get our glasses wear. And again, like I think our I say that our company in that time frame, like everybody in it, we were like the best of the best compared to Alpha, Delta, and all them,
Oh
because
yeah.
we had our moments that we would show off. And I think when you guys weren't looking, even though we couldn't see you guys in your office, but y'all can see us. We had
Hmm.
moments where we look at Delta and we'd be like trying to like show off that we're way better than them.
Oh yeah. We
And
were we were the best company. You're right about that. You know what our model was as drill sergeants?
what?
Because we had to have our models too, right?
Oh.
Because it wasn't just you guys. We also had to respond to. There were formations where all drill sergeants were required to be and stuff.
Mhm.
Our model was all we do is win. Yep.
Okay. I
And
like
a
it.
lot of companies didn't like us for that because it was true. The combatives team,
Mhm.
were you there when we won every single competition on the combatives and quick?
We did. We won
And
everything.
it was quick. It wasn't like like a lot of people were competing against each other during the fights and tournaments,
Yeah.
and they were like taking their time and stuff. They were fighting.
Mhm.
When our guys went there, first of all, there were a lot because the other companies were cheating. They were putting a lot of dudes that were a lot heavier than what they were supposed to be. Our
Yep.
guys were a lot lighter because they were like the right weight that was required for that fight. And it was only a few seconds, and they were just freaking subdued the other guys immediately, even
Oh
the
yeah.
bigger guys.
We were the
That was
best.
great. Yeah, that's why they were like, all we do is that's what we say that all we do is win.
Mhm. Even as
That's pretty
a
cool.
even as a holdover, because uh, for you guys back home, I didn't pass my PRT like the first 3 or 4 times. I saw the new I saw the new trainees come in in the distance, like and I would help out. I would help you guys out before y'all received new trainees, like make sure the water got filled up, make sure everything got clean.
Mhm.
Those detail group that and I would watch from the distance, and then I remember I had to stay with you guys for a couple
Oh,
of days.
I remember that. Yeah, because they didn't, the Delta wasn't gonna be there or something.
Yeah, they weren't gonna be there. They were gonna take a day, like 3 days off before they actually had trainees.
Yeah.
So and you were telling them you uh you can ask Chinese Santiago over here for only 3 questions. And 3 questions, that's it. And
Hmm.
it was before when y'all woke us up like in the morning, like at 2 in the morning, and like had to make us like do push-ups and all that because we weren't or even though we were doing it fast, but we weren't really like we weren't really doing it fast.
Hmm.
To get us doing push-ups, and and we were doing it as well because I was like, oh, you guys probably wanted us to do it as well. And we were like, okay, we'll do it as well. You guys know, get up. Just Orlando said that, and then again when going to that, and I can go back to the questions. They asked the stupidest question. Let me tell you, but we'll go
Oh
back
yeah.
to in the we go back. I'll go back to that in just a second. But we went to Delta back again, and they had their own platoon, and they woke us up around like 2 or 3 in the morning because you guys do that for the first. I think for the first 2 nights or so to get everything, any training in, like how does the PT work, how does everything, and we weren't doing it. We were just standing up because that's what that's what we did in Echo. Like they were like, you don't have to do it, and we're like, and they got onto it. They were like, you think that you're special? You think that you are not just a trainee like them? You think that you're more equipped? No, get your ass down and do these push-ups. I said, I was like, what? Because we were like over here doing this, like, okay. We were like this, like, yes. But the questions they would ask us, like how is Drill Sergeant Serna and Drill Sergeant Landa? I said, look, I told him, I said, first off, I told him that was 2 questions, so you got one more, and you better make that count. Drill Sergeant Serna and Drill Sergeant Landa, if you do everything right that they tell you, then there is no problem. Then they'll do everything. You give they're structured to be here to mentor you to do everything for you. If you listen and all that, do that, everything's gonna like the whole day's gonna be great. If you don't listen and do that, then you're gonna learn from them very quickly how they run things. So you better just do what you're told and leave it like that. And then and then one of my other trainees that we were there at the time, just like as holdovers, they went and got and they're like, hey. I was like, why would you do this? This is a part of what they do. This is what they do in every cycle. And they're like, why would you tell them that they're gonna wake you guys up at like 2 or 3 in the morning to yell at you so they can do push-ups, so you guys can be prepared, like, and they were basically giving away the answers before you guys go in and do it. I was like, what is the fun
Yeah.
of that? What is the fun of that of getting woken up scared in the moment to do push-ups to for them to be angry for no reason. And I got onto that person. I was like, why would you tell them that? Like, I wanted to see this, even if I had to do it, I wanted to see this happening. Like, we know more knowledge, and we shouldn't be giving out any knowledge that could ruin the experience of like how you guys run things.
and
'Cause,
and not to interrupt you, but you know what? As a trainee, seeing things, you probably learn more than when you were a trainee. Like you probably learn a lot more just watching what's happening.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
agree. I learned more as a trainee than me watching. I'm like,
that's a holdover meant.
yeah.
You probably learn a lot more. Like, like things kind of make sense. Like, oh shit, this makes sense.
Were
You start
you
working with.
Were you part of like the as a holdover? Like, was Echo Company or did you have a company where it was a holdover and you had a few people holdovers for you or no?
Yeah, we have a few. So the reason they do holdovers is because the people that didn't make it on one class, or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
they had to stay somewhere, right? Or they had to do
Or
somewhere.
fat camp.
So
Well, you called it
yeah,
fat camp, but it was the fitness enhancement. Yeah. I would
yeah,
still call it to this day because we had a fat
fat.
camp as well in Navy when I went through Navy boot camp. So
Yeah. So yeah, so the way that works is the companies rotate because they have their pickup day on a different time,
yeah.
and one of the companies becomes the holdover company. So yeah, we did have holdovers at some point.
Okay. Did
When
y'all do you have any like experiences of how like were they troublemakers holdovers like think that they know and then they got away with everything like did you see them having phones, did you see them ordering food, did you know anything like that and then never get away with it,
ordering food, what do you mean?
like
Like
yeah, ordering food like because I noticed like a lot of people try to sneak in their phones in boot camp and
oh no no, see, that's what happens when you don't. We never have that issue because we were on top of our freaking of our duty. Like that's what happens when you neglect your duties and you don't pay attention and you don't care.
mhm
Like I told you earlier, if you care about the job, you're gonna work a lot. So if you don't care, you go, I don't give a shit. I don't care. You know what I mean?
right.
So that what happens when you don't care, when you just freaking don't give a shit and just neglect your duty. They're gonna do whatever they want because they gonna take advantage of that. They're gonna exploit that from you.
Yep.
But when you are there checking all the time and all the time on top of what's going on, you don't give them room for that. I remember a few holdovers that ordered pizza, but I remember I run it up to my senior and I asked him, "Hey man, these guys they holdovers. They've been here for so long. Is there a reason why they had to be like? There was no classes going on. There was no cycle going on. So I was asking my senior, is there a reason why this guy could just freaking have regular food? Because at the end of the day, right now they're not fucking training, and they were good trainees also. They just suck at PT, you know.
Me, guilty.
I mean, yeah, they good. They clean everything. Everything. There's nothing much for them. We're about to go to DFAT. Is there a reason why they should be fucking eating at the DFAT, or can we like do something else for them? It wasn't a lot of them. I was like, yeah, man, it's your call. Okay, so I went and talked to the trainees. Hey, you guys want to go to the DFAT or you guys want to have pizza? Obviously, everybody wants to have pizza. Oh, I want pizza. All right, I'll fucking order it myself. That just make sure everything is clean. Don't leave any freaking boxes or anything because if there's an inspection, they're gonna see it and somebody's gonna say something.
Oh yeah.
But that was pretty much it. It wasn't really. We really didn't have an issue with them because
Okay.
we were on top of our.
Oh
We
yeah, I know
were
you
doing
guys.
our
Y'all
due
were.
diligence.
I know you guys were, and we were better. We were the better company. I say that too, and I always talk about.
I mean, it's true.
Mhm. I always say that to
True.
everybody, and even if like, even with a few of my uh battle buddy friends from boot camp, like I'm still in communication to this day, and we still talk about like the good memories about it. Like it was sucky, but it was fun. Like it. We had great
Mm.
mentors. We would bring it up once in a while. I'm trying to see if we can do like we can do a boot camp reunion with everybody that I still have in contact with because I think it was like about 30.
Do you remember trainee Jenny Cole,
Jenny Cole.
the German lady, German girl?
Yes, yes, I have her on Instagram. She was it last time I noticed she was in like Germany and then I think she's somewhere back in the States now, but I'm not too sure.
I don't think she was in Germany.
No?
In Fort Trump, I think.
Oh. For some reason I thought
She's
she
in
was.
Alaska.
She is?
Yeah, she's my buddy now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, sometimes we can. She's a sergeant now.
She
She's
is.
pretty cool. Yeah,
That's
she's
crazy.
sometimes we go and hang out with my family and her. Go eat
Oh,
lunch or dinner or something. It's pretty cool. It's
that's
pretty cool. It's
crazy.
good. Army's cool.
That's a small world
Um,
because you train them, and
yeah.
then they become sergeants, and look at you. That y'all are
hmm
now That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's a small world.
it's pretty cool to see her actually because of that. I was like, yeah, she's doing good in the army. Awesome, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, and then I saw another trainees. I can't remember the names though. Was a female and a male. They are mechanics here in one of the brigade, the battalions here. And I didn't recognize the female, but I recognized the kid, the male. I was like, he's like, you were my drill sergeant in basic training. I was like, I do recognize you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's cool. He's a corporal now.
Oh, that's cool.
And and the female, I don't recognize. Oh, you were my father. Yeah, she was there in the same class. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't. I mean, I'm sure, but I don't.
You're
It's
trying to
like
be
I don't
nice.
remember.
Trying to be
And
nice.
maybe she didn't really. Maybe she was very quiet and never did anything, and I never noticed. No one notices. You know
Right.
what I
No,
mean?
some people. Do you know?
Which is a good thing.
Do you know this? I think she gave you a lot of trouble in our platoon. She seems nice, but a lot of females in our platoon and everybody, a lot of females hated her. She seemed nice, but I never had that like communication with her. But Phoenots, Phoenots, something like that. You used to know somebody like Phoenots.
Oh my gosh, nothing. Yes, yes. Not only she gave me a tour, she's following me like a freaking puppy, and I hated that. Fennel or Feline or something like that.
Yes,
She have a baby or something.
yes, and we all thought, well, not we, but yeah, well, everybody thought like either she's making it up or like we don't know her life story, but she says a lot of crazy, no, I shouldn't say crazy stuff, but she says a lot of things,
I
and
mean,
we don't know if
she
we to
was a
believe
good.
her.
I mean, she was a good trainee. I like her, but she just never. Oh my god! You got some people like that sometimes. I like her. She was a good trainee, but she was always. Um, it's like she phoned me and asked me questions. Like I'm like I think I told her a few times to me, I'm not your daddy. Like you have to figure out things by yourself. Sometimes I can't. I'm not gonna hold your hand all the time. Like you had to learn to be a soldier on your own sometimes. I was like,
That
oh
sounds like
god,
something you would say.
oh my gosh.
But she
Yeah, I
she
haven't heard from her.
she separated. She told me that she's gonna come back though, and
Yeah,
I mean, I told myself I
I
was gonna
hope
come back, but I
I
haven't
hope
seen
she
her.
does good, man.
Yeah.
I hope she does good. But one of the things, and you were talking about it, that you joined the army, you were a rebel and stuff. One of the things of why people join the army, or
Mhm.
maybe the forces too, it's not. It's like a lot of the things people join because they are looking for. They don't have a structure in their life. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They don't have basically a good working family going on. So they're looking for that structure somewhere else, and they see the army and they see an opportunity to be part of something
Yep.
and to be something that it's bigger. That they understand, they have that concept. Well, if I join the army, I'm going to join an institution that's bigger than me and that has a purpose. And I want that in my life. I want a purpose, and I want a family that has a purpose. And so they all get thrown in. So I can remember Fernell, whatever. I don't know her story, right? But she
Same.
used to tell me her story, and I was just like, sometimes I'll be like, you had to listen because you're a drill sergeant, so you had to be able to listen. You can't just say I don't care. Half the times, like don't. I would just be thinking I don't really care. I'm so tired. I want to go home and spend time with my wife or my daughter. I really don't care. Training, sometimes I will be like, hi, John. Oh my God, that's terrible. Oh my, well, I hope everything gets good, better for you. Okay, see you later, Trina. I will just walk away. But I remember she was telling me the story of her daughter or something. But I feel that she had that problem, that she didn't have a structure on her life,
Mhm.
and that's what she does. That's why I say I hope she does good, and I hope that everything works out for her.
Same. Same. Because I
You
had that.
remember? I can't remember who's freaking what his name was. I don't know if you were in that class, but it was this trainee that was telling me in front of everyone, he was telling me, "Drill sergeant, I just want to say something." Right after PT,
Yeah.
and I was in a hurry to leave because I had to go and change, and we gotta go to chow and stuff. And like yesterday, I want to say something, Drill sergeant. It's very important to me. And like yesterday, what is it? He's like, "I just want to say that I never had real friends in my life, and I never really had
Oh
a real
yeah, I don't
fuck."
know who it was, but I know
You,
who.
you remember that, right?
Yeah.
I never had real friends and a real family, but now today I realized that I got real family in the army and real friends and stuff. And I was like, "I'm sorry, were you talking to me? Hey, remind me later," and I walk away. And everybody was just started to laugh. I was like, "Man, this freaking kid, I swear."
Oh my gosh. Yes, I know. I know who you. I don't. I can't remember the name of him, but I know. But it, I know who. Like, I don't know the
Yeah, I
name,
can't.
man.
Yeah, I didn't know what to say, man. I didn't know, like, I was like, well, then I wasn't really even paying attention half the time. So I was just like, "I'm sorry, you talking to me? I need to leave too, like, oh, just remind me later," and I walk away. Like, he
Right.
was just like, it was like,
Oh, that's
anyway,
funny. I know another thing you would say when you beat us. It hurts me, then it hurts you, or more, or it hurts me,
this
then it.
hurts me. This hurts me more than it hurts you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
and we had the most platoon that we had the most PG platoon guys that we had fired, because
Oh yeah.
we had Green. Do you know Green? We had him and Paige, or Peyton, or one female, one male. We had
Yeah. I can remember so many people, but I think so. Yeah.
we had a big tall guy. What's his? I don't know. Really tall, like really strong. Like we were like, whoa. Um,
Was he older?
yes, because him and Aquino were like the in charge of the room, or in our barracks room.
I think Aquino is here too. By the way,
Oh, really?
I think I saw him around. Yeah. Not sure. Maybe not.
Who else do White? I think
Hey,
it's
you know how small? That's a small world. You remember? I think Aguirre.
yes.
He reclassed to be infantry, right?
Really?
Yeah, and then he went to airman school, and now he's in my old company. Before I was a drill sergeant.
Mm.
It's a small world.
It is. That's
He
crazy.
sent me, yeah. I saw him on Facebook, and I was like, "Bro, are you in third brigade?" I think he's Alpha Company now. I think he's Alpha Company, not Bravo. I was Bravo,
Mhm.
but he's in the same battalion. I was like, "Dude, are you in third brigade?" "Yeah, what company?" And I think he said Bravo or Alpha. I was like, "Dude, I was right next to you. I was Bravo Company." That's pretty cool.
That's crazy.
Small
Yeah,
world.
small world. It's small because I've noticed. I haven't seen anyone from like Army or Navy when I went to school or boot camp. Yet. But that doesn't mean when I go back to the states I might see them again. Um,
Hmm. Yeah. Where are you at right now?
I'm in England.
Ah, man, must be nice over there.
Oh, it is. It is. It is. The weather. No, hate it. The weather, hate it. But let me tell you, when I say I get to travel, because we have a lot of 4 days, we have a lot of 4 days, a lot of 3 days um every month or so. And I go, like, I've been to France, I've been to Italy, Spain, I've been to Ireland, Scotland. My goal is to go to Greece, Morocco, Croatia, because I leave next year, but I'm trying to extend, so that's in the process. If I do extend, then I have more time to go travel Europe as
Have
much as
you
I can.
heard the Canary Islands or something like that?
Am I where?
I got a friend over there in the Canary Islands or something.
That's
I'll
close
get on the
by.
information later if you go and then maybe you say hi. I don't know.
Okay, that's close by.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about it. I'm gonna see more information about it, and then I'm probably gonna book something to go there. So,
Yeah, I think a lot of people have told me that they love it, but my friend works there.
okay.
Yeah. What I was gonna say, I don't remember, man. Basic Chinese.
It's a blur. It's, not everything we're gonna know, and we might want to
Yeah,
forget.
there's a lot of information out there,
But
and
it's
it's
great.
you're not gonna be able to get all the information in a hour,
Mhm.
half an hour podcast. You won't be able to, because
Right.
there's
It's
so much to it. There's just so much to it.
At the end
You
of the
know.
day, I think it's a great place to start for every branch, like, those boot camps, because you have 8 weeks, 10 weeks, and you learn. And I can tell you the difference between Army and Navy is way different. We
Is it?
are
I want to hear about it.
we are basically inside all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have classes that we need to take. So we do PT in our barracks, unless we're running, unless it's like Tuesday, Thursday, and we're running, or Monday through Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we run. So we go to Freedom Hall, which, let me tell you, Freedom Hall, it gives you not heart problems. Sorry, it gives you breathing problems, because it's so, like, there's no, you can't open anything. It's
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to put, the way they do their PRT is you have to put like an ankle monitor, we call it, and that's how you track the laps.
Mm-hmm.
That was horrible. Um, but yeah, Freedom Hall, and then we didn't have to march to go to chow like in Army. We had a march. We had our chow, the galley, or we called it the mess hall, in our building. And then if we needed to go to classes, like we had firing classes, we had we one of our things to pass boot camp for Navy, we had to jump off and land in the water and swim. That was one of our things we had to do. One of our first things.
How high? It's like 10 meters.
10, 15 meters.
But you have no issues because you've been through big towers, so to you it was easy.
It was interesting. I have no trouble. I always say that God gave Puerto Ricans either the power to swim or the power to run. I did not get the
Mm.
power to run, but I got the power to swim, so I was so fortunate about that.
Do you have any people that were scared of the jump or denied to jump or anything
Yeah,
like that?
a lot of people, because you would have to take classes on learning how to swim, and if there's a point in the training, if you don't jump and you don't pass it, you get
Mm-hmm.
retained and held back, as mode, as what they called it. I unfortunately was as mode a lot because of my run, but I would still work on it. So when I joined the Navy again, within like June 3rd, I did not graduate boot camp until December 15th, and I passed my PT test, my official one, December 10th. But I got injured in the process, which I was pissed about, but
Mm.
it was okay. I didn't have to go through surgery, but yeah, the only thing was the classes. There's different types of classes. There's instructors for the classes,
Mm.
and it depends on how you do it. Like, everyone's a drill sergeant, but when it's your vacation time, like, if it's like, you get vacation times when it's like the period where you don't have to be a drill sergeant, you become an instructor. So there's DC men where you learn the ways of a boat, and, like, if there's a fire, how you turn it out. If there's a flood, how do you
Mm.
control it. You would have to teach classes like that. Or if the firing, you would have to teach people how to shoot when you're in that
We're not
period.
talking about boot camp anymore, right?
No, this is in boot camp for Navy.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So when you're not being
Okay,
a drill
wow.
sergeant, when you're not being a drill sergeant, or RDC, what they call it, then you have to teach, or you have to go to RCU and watch the broken people, the recruits that are broken, or if you're a
Oh.
holdover, and we call it THU, temporary holding unit. I was in there for a couple months, just waiting on my orders to populate
Mm-hmm.
again. Then you be one of the, like, LPOs, or making sure that the temporary holding units were good. They got everything they needed. We had parties, detail parties, like if like Master Chief wanted one, or like, making sure that that's being run, that's being manned. Then you have people to work in, like, checking in new recruits, like working
Mhm.
night shift. Like I had some of my old RDCs. I see them when they're on a break from being drill sergeant. They be like working the night shift, yelling at the shark attack, but like the Navy version of shark attack, which is not
Mhm.
like the big thing how I miss it in Army. But they do that. So there's different things you can do when you're not training people or becoming drill
That's
sergeants.
interesting. So you guys have a drill sergeant or a drill instructor school, or
Yes. So we do. It's in I where is oh no, it's in Chicago. So it's in the recruit training command. It's like one
the?
build.
Oh,
It's like
okay.
a building, and then that's where you guys like do
So
everything.
so these drill instructors basically have like a rotation duty.
Yes. So you have a rotation. So you do 6 months on, 6 months off, or I think it's 3 months, 3 months off, and then you do your last three. However long the tour is, it's they
Hmm.
that's how it goes, and
Oh, that's interesting.
then
That's interesting. Yeah.
So that's how they
Cool.
do it over there. It's interesting. And it's separated. They call it like over there. They call it by the boats. USS Triton, USS this.
Hmm.
Um, but that's pretty much interesting. Like about Navy boot camp. We had Freedom Hall. We didn't do. We focused a lot on training, a little bit of PT, and training up to our graduation. So we had a lot of march practices, like marching, perform, like making sure
Hmm.
we're all in step and everything like that. And then we called our like instead of platoons, we called ours divisions. And there's
Hmm.
some divisions that are like the performing division, so they'll have the flags, and then they'll have or the
So like
triple
a
threat.
parade division,
Yes,
kind
they
of
had
like.
a parade division. Others there was like a triple threat, where a mix of everything, and then there's a division that they played, instruments.
So the band.
Yep. So they had that because we had to basically run the show,
Mm.
for that. So it was pretty interesting. And then we had like not a SWAT team, uh, SO division, where it's like bulky people. They were the 800 divisions, where they were like really the SEAL team. Their SO team, like people who are gonna go for like jobs that are really
Yeah, the combat related team.
combat. Yeah. So we
Combat
had a
related
division for
jobs.
that. But they took that away.
Yeah.
But then they were talking about bringing it back. And the funny thing is, there's one RDC that I found on TikTok, and I know him. I know him to an extent because he was in that RCU holding division while he was on break from pushing.
Mm.
And I see him on TikTok, and he be talking about like many things that be going on in boot camp, and he be making like these memes and jokes. So
Mm.
but yeah, that's
Interesting.
the gist of Navy and how like
The
it's
Navy.
different. Then
Yeah,
I
it
say,
seems.
and we don't do 4 days and 3 nights. It's the whole night. Oh, it's called like I don't forget what it's called. So when I went through it, it felt like a game. It's like you do it at night, and I'm not really like you do it at night. You're on this game and you have to survive, and things will happen, and it's basically preparing you for going on a boat if something bad happens.
Mm.
So like,
Yeah, guess they had to adapt to their job, huh?
yes.
So what's gonna? Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's how the Navy did it, and it was pretty interesting. It was more like not
Were
like,
you?
huh?
Mm-hmm.
It was
No, go
more.
ahead.
It was not like really laid back, but it was laid back in a sense like we didn't do much outside event stuff. It was all
Yeah,
inside.
yeah. It's like what they call MAPTC. Mission Essential Task. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, were you able to bring anything from the army in or not really?
So I brought him. So what I brought in was I showed them my ID because I still kept my ID, my number, my DOD number
Mm-hmm.
from Army, because I gave
Uh,
them I gave
yeah,
them.
no. I meant during the training, during the boot camp, were you able to bring something to the table,
Uh,
or there's like life? If
yes.
you're in the army, forget it. Forget everything you learned.
So it was a little bit of like not hazing or anything, but it was like fun, like I guess teasement, because they would be like, "You're an Army recruit. I need you to eat less because I've gained a little bit of weight than when I used to be in the Army 185." So
Mm-hmm.
like they were telling me like, "Oh, you need to eat less and make sure you work out more and make sure you benefit from working out." Um, but they'd be calling me Army recruit. I was in leadership positions, like because we had
Hmm.
different jobs. We had a watch bill coordinator where like we had a man up watch and you had to stand it. I've done that, and since my job was a yeoman or admin, that's what we call it in the Navy. I did a
Hmm.
little bit of yeoman admin for my platoon division. When I was a
Mm.
holdover, I was again entrusted of being a yeoman and a duty driver, watch bill coordinator, making sure I like train up people to get qualified in driving a duty van.
Hmm.
And so I've done a lot of stuff those when it's like leadership related between waiting. In Mississippi when I did my admin training, that's when I did a lot more leadership, and I've like, and being Hispanic is a good thing at least because there's a lot of people in the Navy that are like, I think majority of us were like 80% Hispanic.
Really?
Yes, but we were divided into
Hmm.
class, so it's about 40-40.
Weird.
And a lot of them were struggling because like their main language was Spanish and they weren't really understanding the class in English.
Instruction.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I went in and I had my own tutoring session and with 15 to 20 people and everybody passed and I was like everybody passed. So both our classes
Hmm.
passed. We were all happy that we were going to graduate together. And so it was an amazing thing like being a part of a community where like I can help someone like translate, make
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
easier in Spanish, be like, hey, this is what it means in Spanish, and you also, just to let you know, this is what it means in English, so it doesn't confuse you. So when you read the question in English, you know that hey, this is what you need to look for.
Oh yeah. There's some words in Spanish that look like words in English, and
Mhm.
they mean something different. That's funny to me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like I can't think of any examples right now, but there's some words that are like very similar
Mhm.
to English, but you will think that's what that means. But no, that doesn't mean that at all, man. What are you talking about? Yeah.
Right. But yeah, that's the difference between it. Like we have a lot of names in the Navy. Like instead of just saying staff sergeant or sergeant or specialist corporal, we have the name of our job like YN
Hmm.
and whatever rank you are. So if you're E4, you're 3.
Hmm.
E5, you're 2. If you're E6, you're a 1. So YN3, YN2, YN1, LS1, LS3. You know.
And
So
you guys call by the whole time. You call the whole thing like the whole distinction from everyone.
yeah, so if I
Yeah.
don't know your rate, like your job, I'd be like,
Hmm.
I will always ask, or I would say, hey, petty officer first class, because
Hmm.
that's a similar saying to sergeant, staff
Hmm.
sergeant. So that's what I would say. Now, if I want to get more technical, then I would ask them, hey, what is your job, you know? But luckily in my command, most of the jobs here are either intelligence, like ISs. So I can just say IS and they'll automatically assume, you know, I can assume that they're ISs. And then there's like some few jobs that are like CWT, uh, cyber warfare technician or
Hmm.
CTs or ITs, like
Hmm.
then I have to be like
Yeah.
just petty officer or just good thing with chief I can just say chief. I don't have to say ITC or anything. We can just say chief. That we know that it's like that's an E7. So
Okay. Yeah. Army is so easy. It's like if you are E1 to E3, you're private. If you are specialist, you are full private.
I didn't know that. I thought it was like E4 mafia. That's what I heard.
Yeah, that's the E4 mafia. But sometimes they make fun of them because they have a. I don't know the new army you can't tell because the new rank is different. But the old rank, if you look at the specialist rank, it has an eagle inside. So that's what we used to call them full bird private. Instead of full bird colonel, it's a full bird private.
Mm.
So, from E1 to E3 is always private. Then you get your specialist, then you get a collateral freaking promotion to corporal. And then from there on, sergeant, staff sergeant, sergeant first class, and master sergeant, you're always going to be sergeant. You don't have to be, hey, sergeant, master sergeant, or staff sergeant. People do it sometimes, but it's not really. You usually refer them as sergeant. And
Right.
then the only time it's going to change is when you are going to be your first sergeants, sergeant majors, command sergeant majors. That's the only time you. And sergeant major and command sergeant major, you don't distinguish it. You just call it sergeant majors. All of them.
I met this.
Officers.
I met the sergeant major in boot camp
Mm-hmm.
when we were in. Like you guys gave us liberty for after graduation to be with our parents. I was
Oh,
posing in front of the battalion, and he just came up and went like. So I have those pictures. I was like, and I was freaking. I was like, oh, command sergeant major, and I was freaking out. So I was saying different things. I'm like, even though I wasn't sure which one is right, I was like, how's you doing? I'm trying to do 20 years. Yeah, made a fool of myself.
yeah.
But yeah, you can go on. I
You
just
just have
wanted
to say sergeant major. Yeah.
to. But
Uh, then officers is the same thing. First lieutenant, second lieutenant, that's just lieutenant or LT.
hmm
Then the captain,
it's an O3,
and then
right?
yeah, captain. Then you got your
Ours is an O6.
what's that?
Our captain is an O6.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, this is not three. And basically, all then you're just gonna call in sir. See, that's how easy it is.
Oh yes.
You do need to know the ranks, but you just call in sir or ma'am.
Mhm.
That's it, whichever the case. That's the
No,
only thing,
agree.
so it's easy.
Agreed.
Um, and the reason is because in the army there's a lot of it's a lot of flexibility. Flexibility.
Mhm.
Just because you got the rank, which it means something, doesn't mean that you're gonna always be in charge because you're gonna have some dude that specialize in something. Like I don't know, specialize in something, and hey, yeah, you're still working for the commander, you're still working for the sergeant major, but at the same time, it's like that dude is like, hey, step back because I'm fucking working. You know what I mean? Like, don't get on my way.
Right.
So, emphasize on the mission first.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
agreed.
yeah, it works like that. It's pretty. I think it's a good system.
It is. It separates like who we can know who is what and.
Yeah, it takes a lot of the bureaucracy away when it's not needed. Like,
Mhm. Oh, I
yeah,
agree.
it's like,
100%.
yeah, it's like, hey, we need freaking assets on the ground, and I need command sergeant. I don't give a fuck who you are. We need fucking. I just told you we need assets on the ground. You know what I mean? Like you told me no good right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah. Got any more questions about boot camp? I don't or basic training.
I think we covered a lot about boot camp and all that because it's really amazing and I think it's a great place to like go when you want to go and find structure because you don't have that like what you brought up but
You know what I think? Sorry
mhm
to interrupt you. I think that everybody should have at least at a minimum 6 months of active duty service mandatory. Like other countries do. Other countries do like 2 years. I think we should do at least mandatory 6 months. You know what I mean? Instead of the what do you call that when you put your number selective service?
oh yeah
Instead of that, it's like everybody who's 18
mhm
all the way to like 20, I don't know, 29 or whatever, you're mandatorily you need to do a freaking military service. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah, that's a
So
good point to bring up because
that will
I yeah
that will change the population. Like it will really make a lot of people understand a lot of things that they don't know.
no I see where you're going at because I know in Korea South Korea there's this band that's called BTS, and they're in the military because when you're 18, you have to sign up before you can do
Hmm.
anything else. And they were doing a concert, they were doing this tour, and I think it was in America or some other country, but they were called, and then they had to be on hiatus because they had to go to the military. So I can see where
Hmm.
you're coming from, and I can see that yes, it'd be a good thing for a bunch of us that are getting out of high school, and even more, we don't know
Yeah,
what we want to do.
yeah, and I mean like 6 months, not more than 6 months. I want a minimum. I think 6 months is enough so that people understand a lot of things. Like it will have I feel that it will have a different impact on
Mhm.
on the structure of the country. Like people will not be so caught up on so much BS that's happening nowadays. Well, I'm entitled to this. When I'm gonna have nice things, I'm gonna have. I want to have nice things too. Well, you need to freaking work, man. No, why should I work? Like, bro, you need to understand that
Yep.
nothing is free. Everything takes work. Everything, even if you have it on your house, on your table, in your life, it doesn't mean that it came easy. It means that somebody else, maybe not you, but somebody else had to make a sacrifice for what you got right now.
Oh yeah.
And that's what you're not understanding. But if you make them go through it, they'll be like, oh man. And maybe a little bit more appreciation for what we have and a little bit more appreciation for like, well, I don't know who the hell made it possible that we got a Second Amendment, but I'm gonna make sure that it's preserved. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
A different ideologies. I don't know who the hell make it possible that we have the right to free speech. We have the right to send our kids to school, but I'm gonna make sure that it's keep on going. Because that experience that people have through boot camp, it'll be like one of those things that makes people humble, makes them understand things.
Oh yes. One last question before sadly we have to, start winding down and ending the episode.
Oh, so sad. No, just kidding.
You're like,
Such a
yes.
sad moment. Such a sad moment.
Right here. But do you guys? I know when I got to AIT and when I was in the army, a bunch of my friends had to go to Lackland or Hispanic friends had to go somewhere. There's a naval base that had one building and they learned English. They had to learn English, and they had to. They basically practice pre-boot camp, practicing everything PRT, but you basically had classes to go to for your English, and it was a drill sergeant teaching. Is that still true? And if so, when was it first created? Like to help at least people who can't speak English go in, so they go in because Navy, they don't have anything like that. You just go in and you just like, ¿qué pasó? ¿Qué dijo? Like someone who speaks English with like or Spanish and can speak well, was like. Mira, cabrón,
Yeah.
¿qué pasó? ¿Qué está diciendo? So, do you guys have anything like that?
Well, yeah, Lackland. I don't know when it was created, but I know that it's been there for a long time. Not sure. I cannot give you. You're gonna have to Google that, but I know that it's been there because when I joined the army for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
like in '99 or something like that, there were already people coming from that school. People cannot really just learn English like that because a lot of people that went to that school,
Mm-hmm.
I still had to translate for them when I was in basic. But I tell you what, the best freaking trainees come from that school. If they don't speak English, at least they're the best.
Yes.
Like they're hard workers, they freaking mission oriented, like
Yep.
the best. And that was when I was a private. I experienced that. The best battle buddies have were the guys that were coming from there. They couldn't speak any freaking. It's mostly Puerto Ricans too.
Yeah.
They couldn't speak any. I think it's I think it's something. If I want to be wild, make a wild guess, I want to say something that is probably budget or sponsored by the Puerto Ricans, so they can
Okay.
send their
I think
people
so,
to the army.
because most of my
Uh,
friends were Puerto Rican. Well, that I met in AIT when we were going for logistics school. Then they were
mhm.
they were Puerto Rican. So I think it's more about like a Puerto Rican thing that they're doing.
Yeah, I think Puerto Rico those send them there before they send them to the basic training. But when I was a trainee, right, the best battle buddies were from that school because they were like well orientated. They worked hard. They never let me down. And when I was a drill sergeant, the best freaking kids I have were from that school too. Like you can see right away, they like freaking. They don't cut corners. They're not trying to cheat. They always work hard for what for
Oh yeah.
to accomplish their goals.
Yep. They're a
Yeah,
different
that's
breed.
all. Yeah, that's all I can say about that.
But yeah, so I knew there was something like that because I knew for my command I'm running right now a Hispanic Heritage Committee and we're doing events, and there's like one thing that we want to do a panel for, and we were like, and I brought this up, and no one ever knew about it, and not even Army folks that I have an Army team. They're like, um,
Yeah, you should bring it up. You
and
should start
that's
something like that.
and I was like, this is something that we should talk about more and see what is the benefit of bringing this into light and see if we
Hmm.
can potentially not I say see like it in a good world we can like possibly fund it for other Hispanics, that can't learn English.
Hmm.
It's hard, like having a hard time, and have that light for them so they can go before boot camp and learn everything. And then you can see that more people will join it and excel in the military, because you can see that percentage of body when they join, they do so many great things. Because
Hmm.
I have an '06 captain who's from Mexico, and he started from the beginning, and now he's a captain. So he
Nice.
and he didn't have all that when he was growing up or in the military. He didn't have that.
Yeah,
So it's crazy to see that we have that, but it's not really talked about much. And that there's something that if we can do about it and do something to maybe open it back up and like fund for that, but that
yeah,
takes.
that's a good thing. That freaking school they have. I want to say something that Puerto Rico does because everybody who was Puerto Rican was sent to that school.
Mhm.
And since it's been run by drill sergeants, when they were getting to us, they were very motivated and they have a lot of structure already as far as they understand a lot of discipline concepts.
Yep.
So they weren't. I never have an issue with them trying to do anything stupid.
Oh
And
yeah.
always I knew that I'd tell one of those kids, do this or get me this or whatever, and they're freaking at the top of their lungs. Yes, drill sergeant. I took off running. A second later, he was back with what I asked. I was like, Roger that. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, so that's always good, and I'm gonna keep this in mind when I bring it up in my next meeting. I'm like, yep, it's true. I confirmed it the other day,
Mm,
but
yeah.
it's that time where we have to wind down. But
Brother, it's
it was
good talking to you, man.
yes, it was an
Yeah,
amazing experience having you back on and bringing up a lot of memories and
thoroughly
talking about
wondering, thoroughly
that you're
wondering.
trying
Oh
to
my God,
forget.
drill sergeant Serna is weird. He's not yelling. I'm being crazy right now.
I know. I thought I had to be in like attention or parade rest. Oh,
He's
another
weird.
difference with that is to talk to
We're still,
somebody, you have to be
we're
in
still
attention.
humans. Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Huh.
Yep. And then to parade rest, you gotta just be quiet. You'll be quiet. You can't move anything. But yeah, for parade rest for us, and that you guys taught us is parade rest is we had to talk to somebody, but we had to stay in attention to talk to somebody. That's just a little fun fact for different branches.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah,
All right, brother. Good seeing you. And
yes,
take care.
you too.
Okay.
Bye.
Later, bro.
Later. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Okay, that was really amazing. Bye, you guys. Follow the social media and the podcast below, and download it on Apple, and then watch it on Spotify if you want to, and YouTube as well. So I'm not really good with my outros. It's a work in progress, y'all. Just editor, Nick. Nick is my editor, you guys, if you didn't know. He's the best. He's amazing. Just go follow him if you want to. I will get better at my introduction or outro and stuff like that. So, bye.